We've got a big guest we want to bring in now. Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. As you just heard there from Adam, Pam, you never know what's going to happen with O.J. Simpson. Taking a lot of us by surprise, being released overnight. We thought maybe it would be a few days, maybe a week from now. You are fired up about this in Florida. That's where he wants to go. You say he's not welcome here.
Abby, he's not. And, we have, I've handled parole hearings my entire career as a prosecutor, and I went back and watched his parole hearing with the commissioners. I have never seen such lack of remorse in my entire career. I've handled countless parole hearings. And for this guy to want to come to Florida and basically, his buddy who he wants to live with, Tom Scottco, is still tweeting jokes about the juices on the loose. I don't find that humorous at all. He was found civilly liable. I know he wasn't convicted. He owes the Goldmans $33 million. He hasn't paid a penny of it. We know that Susan Jackson in the parole hearing, the parole commissioner, told him to get alcohol treatment because he said he was drunk when he committed the armed robberies. He did not follow through on that. We've gone back, we've listened to that entire hearing, his laughing during the hearing, and we've also looked at his other than his just complete lack of remorse, he wants to come to Florida and golf all over our state, and I don't want that to happen.
Attorney General Bondi, you wrote a letter with regard to what you just said, asking that he not be allowed in the state of Florida. On this show, Fox and Friends, we talk a lot about the rule of law, so I want to be very consistent on this, okay?
Yes.
What in the rule of law do you think supports your position on this? Because a number of commentators don't support your position.
Well, and and that's why I did put it in the alternative. If they find he can live here, I want restrictions placed on him. I made that very clear. But we don't have all the record yet. For instance, we get a look at his entire Department of Corrections file. And the only way Florida now knows that he didn't complete his alcohol treatment was because the commissioner mentioned it at the hearing. So from doing parole hearings my entire career, we get a look. DOC will get to look at that file. We'll get to see his disciplinary actions. We'll get to see if they're extenuating factors. We all know he lied to those commissioners in that hearing when he said that he has had no violent acts. He's lived a conflict-free life. He's a peaceful person. I don't think anybody in the world knows that's true. Listen to Nicole Brown Simpson's 911 call weeks before the murder. Look at all the domestic violence. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Things that are well documented. So we may have to take him, though. We might. There is no right to take him, but under the criteria and the hook he's using is that he has family living here. And it's a shame, frankly, because his children, I think, have led really good lives. They've chosen to live under anonymity, and now he's going to bring them to the forefront of this if he comes to our state. But if he is allowed to come, that's when we get to go through his file. That's when we say, you're not going to report in by mail, O.J. Simpson. You're going to have travel restrictions. You're going to get alcohol tested. You are not going to be allowed to drink in our state. And those are things that we're all going to be able to enforce. And by the way, Nevada made our state think, our Department of Corrections think, that this man was not being released until next week. So therefore, we have not seen any travel plans from him. So if they're trying to pull something fast on Florida, it's not going to work in my state.
Well, Pam, he'll end up likely either in Nevada or Florida. But our own Adam Housley's reporting that the first photo of O.J. Simpson may be worth upwards of $20,000. What does that say to you about how the public views O.J. Simpson vis-a-vis how you may view him?
You know what? Public, if you see him in Florida, take some pictures. Send him in. Send him in so we can see what he's doing. If you see him drinking alcohol, whatever you see him doing. And I saw one of his former defense attorneys warn him of that. Social media is everywhere now. So if he's going to act up, we're going to find him in Florida.
Well,
and
he may be joining social media himself, Pam. I mean, he says he wants to enjoy the simplicities of life. He wants to enjoy seafood and steak, and he wants to get an iPhone because he's been in prison the whole time before the iPhone was even invented or brought into our lives. So maybe we'll see him on Twitter.
And you know what, Abby? I think he wants the limelight. I think he will. I don't think the man can help himself, and I think that's what's ultimately going to get him back in trouble. Do we want anyone to fail? No. But do we want someone with such a violent past in our state? No. If we have to accept him, we're going to put some tough conditions on him.
All right.
Very interesting.
Well, you heard it there. Attorney General of Florida, Pam Bondi. Great to have you on this one.
Thanks
We'll
for your time.
see what happens.
Thank you.
That was our Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi during an interview that she gave to Fox News last Saturday. And to be quite honest, it was pretty disturbing because not only she wants OJ to be blocked from moving to Florida, that based on her letter the letter that she sent to the Department of Correction, but she ordered if he gets in, because eventually he will get in, because there's no law in Florida prevent OJ to move to Florida. Even he's on a parole. He's on parole. And she asked people to stalk him, to take picture and send it to his office to figure out what he's doing. That woman has no authority to do this. She has no authority because OJ is on parole. There's a parole officer that's always check on him every day. And also he will be protected by policemen, because he will during this time in parole he'll be assisted by cops to protect him, to give him protection, because we all know that white supremacists are so angry, they're still salty, so bitter about his acquittal over 20 years ago. And don't forget, there's also Fred Goldman, the greedy motherfucker who will do anything to get money out of OJ. We all know that his NFL pension is protected. He can't take money from his NFL pension. Referring to Fred Goldman, he can't take money from OJ's that the latter received from the NFL. It's protected, like I said. And also I heard in a video, I don't know if it was Brother Harvey, Superboy 223, or any others. By the way, I give them a big shout out because of I love their work. Keep it going. I appreciate your work. Yes, what I was saying is that Fred Goldman wanted to take money from OJ's two children with Nicole Brown, because those two are now pretty successful in real estate in Florida. So this is what I'm talking about. This is perhaps one of the other reasons Pam Bondi wrote this letter, because OJ has money. He beat the system. He beat the judicial system. So, and first of all, criminal and civil, they're two different things. And then, she said during the interview that OJ has no remorse. The guy was acquitted. He was acquitted, you dumb bitch. He was acquitted. But they still treat him like he's guilty. This is sickening. These people are sick. And the fact that OJ has money, he's gonna likely make more money and to have a better life. I just hope OJ learned his lesson and stay away from Becky's. Stay away from Becky's, because it's Becky's that brought him down. It was Becky's, man. And that bitch right here, that bitch Pam Bondi, she has, like I said, has no authority, moral authority to talk about to prevent someone to move to Florida, to make its living in Florida. She has no authority, no moral authority. And also she said a lot of bullshit. I mean, she has never been in a Nevada prison, and she talked that kind of stuff, saying that OJ violates a alcohol restriction. He has, bitch, where did you get these infos? Were you in Nevada, in a Nevada prison to look at it? Where's the proof? You have no freaking proof. This is pretty disturbing. And that woman once is on. Apparently, she up to re-election for a seat. I hope people in Florida. You may not like O.J. Simpson, whether you appreciate, you like or not O.J. Simpson. Common sense has to prevail. Use common sense to vote her out, to vote that bitch out of office. She's unfit to be a attorney general. She's unfit to be a politician, and she's certainly unfit to be a potential governor because as I heard, she eyed the seat of government in Florida. She's unfit because she's an emotional bitch. I mean, she's overly emotional, and she has no moral authority. She has no morality. She's unmoral. So that's why she's gonna lose her case. That's for sure. They're gonna reject her later, and OJ will eventually move to Florida to do his thing. But the fact that she asked people on air, on national television, she asked people in Florida to take pictures, to stalk OJ, this is criminal. She should be disbarred. Someone should file a complaint about her behavior, and she should be disbarred, because if something happens to OJ, because there's a lot of people, some sick maniac will do anything to harm OJ, to set him up, to send him up in a way that he might go to send him back to jail. This is wrong. That woman, if it's something tragic happens to O.J. Simpson, that woman should be held accountable. She has to be reliable she has to be liable for what's gonna happen. If something bad happens to O.J., that woman should be held accountable for it, because you kind of ordering people to take pictures, to stalk him. We all know the media are gonna stalk OJ, that's for sure. But her to ask people to take picture and send those pictures to her, that's criminal. She has no rights. She should be disbarred. But hey, I'm not living in the States, so I don't have my words to say. But anyways, that woman, she's sick. She has issues. And she's dangerous. I just hope OJ, he moved to Florida. I just hope he stay away from Becky's. Do your life, do your thing. Stay away from the limelight. Stay away from the spotlight. Stay away from the spotlight.